Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my fellow believers, my brothers and sisters in Christ. Let's go, guys. Yes, we're in the same area. Honestly, though, I'm just experimenting, guys. Part of me being a man, I think maybe some of you guys can relate. I actually do genuinely have OCD, like clinically diagnosed, oh, I get bad thoughts, I love perfectionism. I'll just keep it a buck with you guys. I love filming in the same spot. Like, we're talking exact same time of day. Like, even if like a leaf is off, I'll just get pissed. I'll literally move rocks and stuff to make it look good. So that's my little, what do you want to call it? My, confession to you guys. So I'm trying to just get familiar filming in different locations, because you know what, that sun last spot was really bugging my eyes. So you know what, now in this spot I can film at any time. And look, man, I'm so blessed to have a good open trail here. I mean, this literally looks like a filming spot. Like, no one's here. It's about a couple minutes off the trail. I mean, you can even play like soccer here. It's like a kind of a big open country looking field. And yeah, welcome to Texas. We're not in, what do they say? We're not in Kansas no more. Anyways, okay, I digress. With that said, guys, in today's video, I wanted to make an in-depth one. My wife and I have really been going in depth on the Hero's Call to Adventure as of late by Joseph Campbell. And now the Hero's Call to Adventure, guys, is you're gonna see a lot of themes in these videos. A few videos back, I spoke of Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Friedrich Nietzsche. Okay, he's not a Christian, I'm just letting you know, but he paints the picture of the man's development, right? Going from the camel phase, the beast of burdens, the blue pill, you could say, to the lion phase. And if you hear a little bit of construction down there, they're doing a lot of stuff down there. The lion phase, we could say, is the red pill. And then finally, we have the child phase. You could say that's the completion, that's bringing it full circle. And the Hero's Call to Adventure, guys, is a little bit different. You know, Joseph Campbell, I actually want to, let's go through this with you guys, because this is really important to a man's development. And you may think, David, this is irrelevant, this is not biblical whatsoever. Ironically enough, the vast majority of the biblical characters, and really, I'll be honest, almost every movie or depiction we see of a man's journey, it follows this timeless wisdom of the hero's call to adventure, leaving the norm. Just like Abraham, she was doing a deep dive on that, leaving his home territory, following God's promise, getting in the wilderness period. Think of the Israelites, right? Getting persecuted, being confused, being lost, making it to that promised land. And it's so beautiful. So I'm gonna pull up the depiction. All right, here we go, okay? You guys can take a look at this in your own time. Just type in Hero's Call to Adventure, all right, guys? So we first start off as the man, the call to adventure. And now this is when things are normal. Here's the beautiful thing. There's two phases, okay? Maybe I'll put a depiction up here. We have the normal world, and then we have the underworld, or the special world, where the challenges begin. Now, every single man starts in the normal world, okay? Life is honky-dory. Think of like Frodo in the Shire, right? A lot of these movies use it. Frodo in the Shire, Harry Potter in his little village. I know Harry Potter's kind of new agey, so you know, bear with me, but I'm sure even Star Wars 2, we could argue that guy was probably a Mason, but for the sake of this video, let's look at Lord of the Rings. Frodo starts off in the Shire. Life is normal, life is okay, we're good, we're kicking it, everyone's dandy, but then guess what happens after a certain point, okay? There is a call to adventure, and do you want to know a lot of times how this starts? Death. Persecution, catastrophe, right? You guys know in a movie back, I quoted in a few videos ago, I quoted Deck or Predator Badlands, and I'm not gonna ruin it, but a lot of times, you know what God does to get us to initiate this call to adventure? I'll be honest, guys, it starts with something tragic. You know, I look at my life, guys, you know, my dad died when I was 12 years old, and that was the beginning, whether I knew it or not, of my call to adventure, because you know what? I'm the oldest of the family now. I have my mother and my younger brother. So God's gonna push you off the ledge, because guess what, guys? If the bad guys didn't come to Frodo Shire's land and start tearing things up or trying to look for him, man, I really need a gun out here soon, guys. That's the next thing I'm gonna start bringing. Once the next step of being a Texan is getting those guns ready, because like I'm good out here, but like you never know, right? you never know. So be on the lookout for that. But look, guys, if people look at any movie, didn't come for that child. Even think of Jesus, right? When the kings were looking for him, think of Moses, when the king was looking to slaughter him, the firstborn child. If there's not this incentive, if there's not this, hey man, it's time to go whether you're ready or not. I think of Moses, let's use this as an example, the Prince of Egypt. He went through the Nile River or whatever it was. He was put in the basket, sent away because some catastrophe was going to happen. That's how it all starts. So I'm here to tell you guys, a lot of times in our life, in fact, I would say all times, God uses these challenging things, these things that seemingly look like, no way God could do this. You know, my dad died, I got into a car accident, something bad happened. Well, guess what, ma'am? Just like in the book of Job, could God be potentially using this to test your faith, to build you as a man? Do you understand? And I'll be honest with you guys, you know, I would say the majority of atheists or seculars, the difference between a Christian man and a worldly secular man is how they responded to that initiative call to adventure. You understand? That initial stimulus, that initial bad thing happening. Are you going to be a victim and buckle and just start blaming God, be an angry, blue-haired, liberal atheist and say, oh, how could bad things happen? Or did God do that deliberately in your life to grow you? Man, I'll tell you this, guys, I wrestled quite a bit when when my dad died young, but I knew in my hearts of hearts, and this is before I was born again, guys, that I knew there was a reason for this. There was something bigger. There was some mantle now that I had to fulfill. I knew it in the deepest part of my bones as a 12-year-old man, right? And that's actually why I ended up fast forward starting this channel, started watching Elliot Hulse way back in the day, learning all these things that my dad we couldn't teach him anymore because he passed. And you know what's so beautiful speaking about that? Boom! That brings us to the next part of our hero's call to adventure. Right after that first thing, it's a circle. Right after the first phase, call to adventure, what's the next thing? Right? Maybe it's why I'm using these videos too. Supernatural aid. God is going to be there. And you know what's going to happen? God is going to miraculously guide the way. Just like when Frodo left the Shire. And again, I haven't seen that movie in a very long time, so you know, bear with me, right? Or Star Wars, whatever it is. When they leave that land, what's familiar to them? You know what happens? Things just work out in time. You know, I think of the movie Aragon. I don't know if any of you guys have seen this, but he leaves his village because I believe, I'm gonna kind of ruin it for you guys, but I believe like his uncle dies. I think like the raiders get his uncle, and I think they're trying to get him, if I'm not mistaken, because he has like the special egg, right? The dragon egg. And then so he leaves, he's like, I gotta go off. But guess what happens? He finds mentors. He finds this aid that's able to guide him just in time to like make it to that boat that's about to ship to like the land he needs to get to. Or he has just enough money that he saved up to, you guys get what I'm saying. Maybe he's able to sell his goat or something like that to just have enough for the ticket to get on the ship. But you're just gonna have enough. You know, so when my dad died, and I'm not gonna go too in depth with it, but like, you guys are just gonna have enough. God's gonna send you a mentor. He's gonna send you supernatural aid to, yes, make it to that next land. It's going to be scary. Let's relate it back to Moses and the Prince of Egypt. I love that movie, right? When the Israelites were leaving Egypt, what was that supernatural aid? Yahweh. Right? Parting the Red Sea, saving them from the bad guys. Now, make no mistake, just because there's supernatural aid does not mean that you're going to be successful. You still got to get off your butt and do it, right? A lot of guys don't make it that far. And so it keeps going. And now let's say they left Egypt during the wilderness, or they're beginning their journey, right? Now they're hitting that threshold. They're going from the normal world to that special world where like it's unknown, right? And this is where the helper comes. They're gonna find mentors, right? Think of someone so beautiful. The mentor, guys, and we can even think of the helper as the Holy Spirit. Amen, right? The mentor is usually an older man who's done this before. So for me, these are guys older than myself. This could be a father-in-law. I'll be honest with you guys. My wife's dad has been a huge mentor to me as of late. He's pretty young. He's around 45 years old. So I look up to him a lot in his work ethic and how he builds. And, you know, of course, being a Texan, it's very different to me, right? Maybe this can be a YouTuber. Back in the day, for me, this was Elliot Hulse. And God's going to send these men who have completed this call to adventure to really guide you along your way. Now, these men cannot walk this path for you, right? Let's look at Gandalf for, I believe that's his name, right? Gandalf with Lord of the Rings. Let's look at Dumbledore, right, with Harry Potter. Let's look at Obi-Wan Kenobi with Star Wars. These are men who have done their hero's call to adventure, but they're now here to give you guys the next torch. Not to walk it for you, make no mistake, but to give you those little tidbits to help you get it done, right? Anyways, guys, I'm not going to go through this entire thing because it's quite long, but it keeps going on. The next phases, this is really where you're going to grow, right? It says challenges and temptations. And this part, guys, is where I would say you're really going to go through it. And a lot of times that helper, that mentor, at that point, he disappears. You know, a good quote goes, I might kind of butcher it here, but like, the teacher is quiet only when you're taking the test, right? You know you're ready when God sends you a helper, but you know you're really ready when that helper leaves. I'm kind of butchering, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like the mentor shows up when he knows you're ready, but the mentor leaves when it's testing time. And man, this is where I think a lot of you guys are at. This is where I will be as a man. Again, this is cyclical, right? And it's going to seem like God's forsaken you. I can imagine the Israelites in the wilderness period, right? They're like, God, you've forsaken us. And that's why some of them went back to idol worship. They wanted to go back to Egypt because it was reliable. A lot of people at this point, guys, this is your testing period. Can you endure? Can you endure this path like a good soldier? Romans 12:1, to present your body a living sacrifice. I'll be honest with you guys, this is why the majority of those Israelites, or a good amount of them, did not make it to the promised land out of disobedience, out of fear, out of wanting to go back. This is where, guys, you have all the tools needed. You studied, right? You put in the time. Now the teacher's quiet because you're taking the test. God's testing you. Doesn't mean he's not there, but he's testing you. And this phase, guys, right, we could kind of call this the Paul arc. Really, I'll be honest with you guys. This was kind of like the Paul arc that I was on the past few years that a lot of you guys are on. Or now, like I told you, it's cyclical. Now that I'm married and I'm going to be a father soon, I'm in a whole new call to adventure, right? In fact, me marrying Mallory and moving to the U.S. as an immigrant, guys, legal that is, but still it's very scary, guys. You know, with the whole ICE raids, they're still going on now, with the propaganda that was being thrown at. I didn't know if I'd get accepted. Now, granted, I am a legal green card holder. I'm a permanent resident. That was a very expensive, scary process, guys, but we're all good. But even with that, guys, moving, getting married, saying goodbye to my old life, right? To a family like I really don't even know because God told me to do so. Man, guys, it's been a very tricky past year, if I'll be honest with you. But make no mistake, guys, this video is going to be a little bit of a longer one. Here's what's so important, guys, okay? Right when you hit that bottom part, that threshold, right where you're going through those challenges and temptations, it says abyss, right? So the abyss, right? But death and rebirth, right? Almost kind of like being born again. Now, I know, guys, this philosophy stuff, I'm not saying it's like completely Christian. So if there's a bit of paganism or philosophy, you know, bear with me. I'm kind of using this as like a biblical reference, right? Of course, the Bible's our ultimate authority. Of course, it's a no-brainer. But death and rebirth, almost like you're born again, almost like the transformation that's happened, guys. Now being married for a year, I can finally feel called to come back to this channel, not because, you know, I'm some special guy, but because I finally have died to that old self, right? Like I told you guys, that humble arc. Are you noticing a lot of similarities in this channel? The humble arc, what is that? The death and rebirth, the challenges, the temptations, the letting go of your old identity, your old self, what was familiar to you back in the Shire. You understand? Back in Hobbit Town. And then you keep going, transformation, and then eventually, you know, you find the elixir and you come back to the normal world and then share that world. Or now you are Gandalf, or you are Dumbledore to the next Harry Potter, to the next Frodo. Do you understand? And that's really, guys, what you're going to notice with a lot of these themes here. Just like Jesus going to the underworld and coming back, right? Dying. I love this, guys, dying. And I believe a lot of this is actually inspired by the biblical resurrection, right? Jesus being crucified, right? Dying, but then resurrecting 3 days later with all dominion and authority. So, guys, hopefully this can help you guys. Hopefully this made sense. This is really an archaic, integrated wisdom theme ingrained within every single man. This is why it's really speaking to every single one of you guys, because it is true, it rings true. The biblical paradigm, Jesus with the death and resurrection, is integrated in every fiber of our being, of every human being's being, and we need more men going off on their call to adventure, going out into the wilderness period. Are you seeing all these similar themes? Leaving what's familiar, leaving the Shire, moving to a different country, leaving, really, guys, it's just leaving comfort, and God will give you this call to adventure. In fact, I would argue for the vast majority of you guys, he already has, but are you accepting that call to adventure? Because if you do not, guys, I'll just wrap it up here, you will live with regret to the day you die. That is one thing I can confidently tell you guys. If you do not accept this call to adventure and stay a man-child, right, just kind of like Alice in Wonderland, you don't take that real red pill, go down that rabbit hole, and you just stay in blue pill, beta land, stay in beta land, you're going to live with regret to the day you die as a man. 100%. This is something men have always, I'm really going to go in depth with this in different videos, but this form of initiation, right? Kind of like Predator Badlands, to create your own clan, to come back, to be accepted. Because if not, guys, you will live with that man-child energy. It's kind of like a draft dodger, right? Let's say everyone back in the day who got drafted to World War I and II, and you were like, no, I don't want to go, and you were perfectly able-bodied, like you were healthy, you were fine, but you were a draft dodger. You're going to live with that regret to the day you die, but apply that in the spiritual sense, right? Because we're not fighting against flesh and blood, but in the spiritual sense. It's time for you to man up, man. And you want to know how you man up? You go off into those far lands. And I'm in the same boat with you guys. I may be on a different call to adventure, but you better believe, guys, I'm in the exact same boat as you guys. And so hopefully this can just be a little bit of encouragement to you guys that I'm here with you, and it's such a beautiful journey. It's a scary journey, but it is needed. It is non-negotiable. It's time to burn the boats, man. It's time to leave that cushy job and that cushy brand that made you a lot of money, got you a lot of praise, and to go off into the distant lands, go into the Badlands, right? So God bless you guys. Have an amazing day. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. If you guys did, make sure to give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about the shot. Honestly, this literally looks like Predator Badlands. Like, this just looks like the middle of nowhere. I'll probably move locations a few times, but yeah, we'll finish it there, guys. As always, my one plug is there is discipleship men's coaching below. If you guys would like a mentor along your hero's call to adventure, I would love to aid you guys. I do this full time, and it's phenomenal. It's the best feeling in the world. And but again, I can't walk this path for you. I can show you the steps and I can guide you, but I cannot walk this path. You will do it alone, right? So thank you guys. Have an amazing day. Check you next time. Till then, much love. Peace.